My name is Hanna Weiland-Breckle and I'm a postdoctoral researcher in the project InfoPer, Processing Speakers' Meaning, Informativeness and Perspective by Petra Schumacher in Cologne. To be honest, I first of all got interested in linguistics because I thought this is the part of German studies with clear rules, no interpretation and suggesting. So for each question, for example in a test, there would be one correct answer. Attending a class on pragmatics, I then realized that language is not that clear. In contrast, it is often quite vague and imprecise. When saying things like, "It's cold in here," we for example mean that the person near the window should close it. Or when Romeo is saying, "Juliet is the sun," he probably did not mean that Juliet is the sun, literally, rather that she is really beautiful, has a wonderful appearance, and so on. Nevertheless, people communicate successfully in everyday communication with little misunderstanding. So how is this possible? What happens when we hear or read an utterance that means more than it is said? What information does we use and which processes are involved to understand what the speaker wanted to transmit? To answer these questions, I am doing experimental pragmatics since 2014 in the XPrag.de project. In the last years, I, for example, investigated whether and how contextual factors like the perspective of a protagonist in a story influence the assignment of truth values. To do so, we showed our participants a set of little stories like the following. There is this girl Cleo. Cleo is an actress and has brown hair. For a play, she dyed her hair black because she soon will play Snow White. The next day, during a walk, she is approached by a genetist who would like to carry out a study on the inheritance of the hair color black. Afterwards, the participants saw different story endings and were asked to judge whether the last statement, for example, "this hair is black," is true or false. For example, Cleo points at her hair and says, "this hair is black." Interestingly, the truth judgment changed independent of the respective perspective of the protagonist. Now you can ask, especially after this example, perhaps even as a linguist, why we should be interested in experimental pragmatics. Well, we all know about the importance of language for the history of humankind. I think since pragmatics looks at language use and experimental pragmatics collects empirical evidence to build new and improve existing pragmatic theories, the question should be, why shouldn't we be interested in experimental pragmatics? For me, to work with other researchers of the XPrag community on the same topics is big fun, and beside the scientific benefits and gain of knowledge, I appreciate the use of well-known paradigms, and I also enjoy developing new and creative methods to find answers to the question, how is it possible that we understand each other?